wanna be down with the king.
It's the Sports Kings.
Sports Kings. Big Mike.
He might fall off the wagon in the next 10 minutes.
And Rob Calloway.
It's about bringing talent. It's not about all the flash and glitz and glam.
Not your average sports talk show. The Sports Kings.
This is NFL legend, Work Done.
This your boy D. Howard, a.k.a. Superman.
I'm Jerome Bettis, the bus.
It's Cam Newton. Holla at your boy, already.
This is Hank Aaron, and I'm down with the king.
Tell a friend, Kings is back.
And welcome back into another edition of the Sports Kings podcast. I am Big Mike. The other voice that you'll be hearing is Rob Calloway. Together we are the Sports Kings. You can reach out to us at any time while you're listening to this podcast at Sports Kings Live on Twitter or at Sports Kings Live on Instagram. Also, you can email us any comments or any suggestions that you may have at our email address, sportskingsatl@gmail.com. It's been a pretty light sports day today. Just recently had a big NFL trade with LaShawn McCoy going from the Philadelphia Eagles to the Buffalo Bills for Kiko Alonso, guy who missed all of last season. So we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll talk about Jameis Winston. I had some thoughts on how he's being covered as far as some of the mainstream media and some of the things they're saying about him. I want to talk about Brian Shaw being fired as well. He went from being one of the hot, young head coaches or head coaching prospects to a guy who just couldn't really figure it out. And I want to talk about some of the guys who are on his, in his corner and that whole, players know, what to do as far as front office type stuff. So we'll get into all of that. We got 2 hours to do it, and we'll, mess around a little bit. Rob, what's going on, brother?
What's up, Ken, folks? Or should I say, hello there?
Was you in the bathroom?
No. Yes, I'm in Mike Smith's secret location where he used to record all of his interviews for the Atlanta Falcons. Sound like I'm in the bathroom today?
A little bit. I don't know.
Well, I mean, everything else for me is in the toilet, so I might be.
Well, there you have it. So yeah, Jameis Winston. He took a visit to Tampa Bay to hang out with Lovey and the Glazers, the owners of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers today. From what I understand, well, I guess this is a little bit early for that to be happening, but I guess there is no secret to who they'll be taking or what position they'll be drafting. Either he or Marcus Mariota. From all indications, it'll be Jameis Winston unless something catastrophic happens. So yeah, he's down there. I wanna read you guys what exactly his statement was after leaving the meeting. I just want them to know that I'm a human being, that I'm a human, and I'm great, and I'm a great person. If I can read today, quote, "The smile isn't fake. I just want to show them that I can be the face of the franchise one day. Actions speak louder than words." I mean, the kid is saying all the right things, but in reality, and I posed this question on Twitter the other day. In reality, what are we talking about here? We're talking about a kid who blurted something out inappropriately in the lunchroom. A guy who was accused of a sexual assault and acquitted. No matter how you feel about the circumstances in which it happened in. And a guy who, got the 5-finger discount or tried to get a 5-finger discount on some crab legs. We can characterize those.
We'd all love that.
Well, we've all been in college. We've all eaten good for less than what the price of the items were. Not all. I'm not going to say all. A lot of people have. I tend to believe that my generation is the reason that those cameras are above the cash registers at grocery stores. Because they're not on you, the customer. They're on the cashier. Excuse me. You pay for like a pack of gum, and she just dropped the steak over the little swiper thing, the little beeper thing, without it actually going off, and you end up paying $3 for some steak and potatoes and some shrimp. Well, it's happened. So
look. Not to get sidetracked, but this is a true story, Mike. And you might know somebody that worked here too. But back in the day, you know, a lot of folks' first jobs was at.
Please don't say the name of the store. Don't say the name of the store. Don't say the name of the store.
Well, I said Food Giant. You know, that's gone anyway. But a store right down the street, you know, right in our neighborhood, you know, was a lot of people's first job. And so, dude, I'm telling you, when I was in the 11th and 12th grade, and some of my classmates worked at this particular grocery store, we would go in the store and get like 20 bottles of Boone's Farm. First of all, we were underage, but we would get like 20 bottles of Boone's Farm and pay like $2, and then be smashed the whole weekend.
As a teenage drunkard, Rob Calloway, I hope you've gotten help for that issue at this point. But no, and I think to me, it's a lot being made out of a little. You know, people want to talk about these things as character issues, when really, if you ask me, it's a maturity thing. That's what it boils down to. It's a maturity thing, and I don't know if the kid will ever mature. I hope he will, but we've seen guys like, well, at some level, Pac-Man Jones, a guy who was constantly in trouble with the law, actually legal trouble, and you know, he ended up getting. I remember seeing the article of him writing about his daughter, that his daughter was getting old and learning how to use a computer, and that he didn't want her to be able to Google his name and the first thing that comes up is a mugshot or an arrest record or something like that. So certain things trigger certain changes in people. I'm a firm believer that no one changes for no reason. Like there has to be an incentive for you to change. Like no one stops smoking crack because it's not good anymore. You know, something has to happen. Something, and a lot of times it's something bad. Like in Pac-Man Jones' instance, you know, something bad as far as him being arrested so many times or being having confrontations with the law so many times, and then his daughter being born. The culmination of the two things, you know, caused him to make a change in his life. So the thing with Jameis, he's not a criminal in the sense of going to the extreme of Aaron Hernandez. Like, I don't think that's going to be something you worry about when you talk about character stuff. The kid, he's definitely got to grow up, because he probably thought when he stood up in the lunchroom and said what he said, it was funny, it was going to be ha ha ha. But you know, everybody don't love you that way. I have a firm belief that the reason that this kid is so comfortable, because he's a Bama, he's a country dude. But the reason he's so comfortable, he believes that everyone sees him the way he sees himself. So there is no uncomfortable situation for him. Like in everywhere he goes, he's the same dude. He's doing the same stuff. He's saying the same things. And to me, it's because he doesn't have any shame or any type of what am I trying to say? What's the word I'm looking for here? God,
you just said it. I mean, yeah. I mean, no, that's what you're saying. Like, I mean, he has no shame. I mean, he's confident in who he is, so he does what he does. I mean, bottom line, like he's secure. He's secure in who he is. That's about whether he's a fool or not. He's comfortable being, you know, famous Jameis.
Speaking of, he's filed for a trademark on that phrase, so yeah, he can say it for a little while longer until you have to pay for it, homeboy. Just know that.
Well, maybe if the NFL thing doesn't work, maybe he can make some chocolate chip cookies. Those famous Amos, I love those cookies. You're a fool. And which leads me to the other point that I had about this kid. It's like he came out of the combine smelling like roses. Like everyone who knows football that spoke to this kid had pretty much the same thing to say about him. Like he has the same football acumen as a guy like like a guy like Peyton Manning has, right? Which is baffling to me. I mean,
why? Why is everyone so surprised?
Well, you know why? I'm gonna tell you why. Because first of all, I don't know Jameis Winston as a person. I don't know Peyton Manning. Okay, but the things that Jameis Winston is famous for, or infamous for. I mean, of course, he won a national championship with Florida State, but you know, it's these other things that has happened in his personal life that have taken the forefront. And so just as a human being, you know, when you hear, because I've never heard of Peyton Manning being in trouble.
But what does that have to do with his football acumen? Those are two, like, well, we got to be able to compartmentalize things. That's two separate things.
But I'm saying, and it has nothing to do with it. But it's just when you hear that and you hear about the things that he does outside of football, and it's like, okay, well, he might have a high football IQ, but what about his personal IQ, like outside of football? I mean, and sometimes, you can get those two, you can get them mixed, and that's what I'm saying when you just keep hearing about this boy and sexual assault and stealing crabs and crawfish. I mean, sometimes that can cloud your judgment about a person. But just straight up.
See, and that's part of my issue with sports media, with people in general. It's like there is this lack of compartmentalization. One thing doesn't have to do with the other. Like, there's plenty of people in jail right now, people who are smarter than me and you. But you know what they did? They committed a crime, so they're in jail. That doesn't make them any less smart. It just makes them a smart criminal. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I'm with you. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, me just like a lot of other people. Again, when you hear about all the bad stuff, it just kind of clouds your judgment.
See, and
now when he gets out on the football field, I see him play. That'll be a completely different story. But but just and I guess the other thing is, when you hear Peyton Manning, right? When you hear Peyton, like, automatically, I go to not the Peyton Manning that was in the combine and preparing to get drafted by the Colts. I'm just automatically thinking about the great Peyton Manning, even though Jameis Winston has something that Peyton Manning never got, national championship, played, So it's like, I just go to like the great Peyton Manning, not Peyton Manning when he was 21, 22 years old. So, again, like I said, that's just the human part of it.
You're listening to the Sports Kings podcast. I'm Big Mike. He's Rob Calloway. Sports Kings Live is our Twitter account. Sports Kings Live is also our Instagram account, and our email address is sportskingshtl@gmail.com. At any point while you're listening to this podcast, you can always drop us an email, a tweet, or an Instagram, and we'll reply to you. We'll get into a little bit of the conversation that we're having now with you online in the Twitter sphere or the Instagram sphere or whatever you want to call it. I'm just like, maybe it just hits me a different way, because when people say that about Andrew Luck, no one batted an eye. No one batted an eye about how smart a football player that kid was. But when you got the black country kid from Bessemer, he can't be. Like, people, like, you use the word baffled. People are saying this can't be true. How is someone who sits behind a mic, like me or you, going to dispute football people? Football people who do this every year. They do it every year at the combine. They sit in these rooms and interview these quarterbacks. And so they have a very big sample size to work from. And these people are people who are saying this kid is smart as hell when it comes to football.
Well, it just caught me off guard. Not to say that he isn't. It just caught me off guard. Because again, when I think Jameis Winston, up until I heard that coming, when I think about Jameis Winston, I think about the last game I saw him play in college, which left a lot to be desired. I think about the crabs, and I think about the sexual assault. That's what I think about when I think about Jameis Winston.
How can we not compartmentalize that? How can we not put those things into two different categories?
Because at the end of the day, like I said, when I hear about these kind of things, bad, judgment, bad, I just kind of put it all together. And again, I know that I'm not the only one. You know what I'm saying? That hears all this crazy stuff and then automatically labels this guy, and I'll be the first to say, he come in and there's the thing, I'll salute the guy. But but when you hear that kind of stuff, like, you never heard anything bad about Andrew Luck when he was in Stafford. That's what I'm saying.
But like, even if you did, it doesn't make him any dumber of a football player.
But it's about the way that they paint this, that, the national media, where, a lot of times we get our information from. It's about how they paint that person, the kind of light that they paint that person in. So again, I don't know the dude, so all I can go off of is what I've heard about.
Well, here's the thing. You don't have to know him. We watch enough football to know what we know. And we, like I say, if it ever comes down to it, you trust the people who do know. And the people who do know say this kid is smart as hell. He retains everything. Mariucci, the people who sat in the rooms with him at the